Hey guys, it's Chef. So we're going to make a pasta Italiano tonight. I'm going to go over some ingredients and some ideas. I had a bunch of little cherry tomatoes left over from school lunches today, and I'm willing to bet you guys probably have some too. So this is a really easy way to use up some of them and to make something else out of them. I will try to get some different recipes throughout each week as to some of the ingredients that the schools are sending home, so that way you'll have some of those things on hand. I've got a pan over here that I'm getting ready to turn on medium low, and I'm going to heat a nice little drizzle of oil. Here I have water that's trying to come to a boil. I'm going to put just a little bit of oil in it so that way the noodles won't stick to themselves. And I'm gonna salt that water. It's about half a teaspoon. I'm gonna let that do its thing. This is a long green pepper. It's also called a cubanelle pepper. They're very common in most Italian cuisine, even though it's not where they originated. They're very flavorful, very robust, and they give sauces a lot of flavor, and that is part of the reason that they are so common in Italian style dishes, also South American dishes. It's not got as much of a heartburny, funny flavor that a bell pepper, like a green bell pepper has. It's not as pungent as that. They're sweet, they're mild, but they're very deep in flavor and very rich. So we're going to medium dice this. I'm going to take the top off. I'm going to take the end. One of the things that makes a long green pepper or a cubanelle known is, and you can find these at Food Lion or your local grocery store, which is our local grocery store. They are a longer pepper, but their tips curl just a little bit. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it starts to curl just a little bit. You can't smell it, but it's very strong. I'm going to make my husband smell, who's videoing. Do you want to describe that? Because it doesn't smell like a bell pepper. No. It kind of smells, it smells sweet like a bell pepper, but it's got more hints of like a spice, even though it's not hot, kind of like a jalapeno pepper. Now that this is open, I'm going to make a really thin slit all the way across so I can open this guy up so I can clean them. And I'm just going to pull out the membrane and seeds. Pull out the membrane and seeds. And then I'm going to rinse this guy out. And just rinse out those extra seeds. I'm going to break like the structure of this pepper. You'll hear it pop as I lay it flat, but it'll make it a little easier to dice. Light bib?
I think so. I don't know if it's not really.
Maybe the here. Big light.
They're both on.
Are they?
Yeah.
This one I missed.
But you can see, so.
Okay. So I've got these guys diced up pretty well. This one's kind of held together a little more because of the membrane. So my pan's getting a little warmer. We're going to bring it up a little bit. I'm going to slide these to the side while I'm waiting for my pan to get nice and hot. The top of this pepper can also be used, and you just kind of cut around because you've got lots of good parts still. And you just kind of dice that up without getting the membrane and the pepper. I'm sure you guys can hear my kids running around crazy right now and screaming through the house like banshees, because that's what they do. Alright, just gonna scrape that out of my way. I'm gonna peel and dice some garlic. break it so I can pull some cloves out. Huh?
We've used garlic in every video so
I
far.
like garlic. Okay, guys, remember what seasonings are all their favorites? What is salt and pepper's best friend? Garlic. So I use garlic in everything. Salt, pepper, garlic. Makes the world go around. If you don't have anything else, you can make a delicious meal out of just salt, pepper, and garlic.
I don't know if I'd want to eat just salt, pepper, and garlic.
Well, to season or to flavor something. Catch our children that are... All right.
Must be getting bicycles out.
Sounds that way. My garage is opening. That's why we know. Just gonna split the garlic pieces in half so they're a little easier to dice and stay flat. This one has a little bit of a bad spot in it, so I'm cutting it out. And put them flat, and then I'm just gonna dice these guys right on up. All right, so my pan's getting hot. We're getting those ripples like what we have talked about before. As you can see here, the oil is starting to ripple. We don't have smoke, which we actually have a little bit. So this pan is actually a little too hot. So we're gonna turn this down just a smidge. But you want the ripples. My water's boiling here. I'm gonna go ahead and dump some linguine noodles in. Linguine is going in. I'm just gonna kind of push just a little bit so they're in. Pan's coming down in temperature. I'm gonna slide these guys right on in. See, it's too hot. Somehow missed a whole piece of pepper when I was dicing, y'all.
Whoops.
Right? All right. Second time's a charm. All right, so we're gonna let that get nice and fragrant. You can already smell the garlic. And I'm gonna let those start to get brown. And then I'm going to add some pork sausage to it. Just Italian sausage. I got sweet. It's also known as mild, or you can get hot, however you like it. These are in casing, and I'll show you how to pull them out of casing. But before I contaminate my cutting board with meat, I'm gonna dice up these cherry tomatoes from the school. I'm just gonna halve them. Just gonna cut them in half. Smell that pepper. It's starting to smell really good. That was a basketball hitting my door. I feel like for the amount of pasta that I'm making tonight that this is probably enough tomatoes, and that's about what 1 cup was from the school. So we're going to set those to the side as well, because those will go in as one of the last things. I'm going to give this another quick stir. Just because I want to make sure I'm getting evenly distributed heat and that nothing's starting to burn or stick. My noodles are done. I'm just going to push this down the rest of the way. So that way my noodles will come to a boil again. Alright. Gonna let that kind of simmer down. I'm gonna clean up my mess a little bit. How you guys doing? I've missed y'all. Can't wait to get back in class so I can tell you guys to cut garlic so I don't smell like it anymore. And onions. Man, I cut up so many onions the other day. I washed my hands like 5 times and even used lemon juice, and I still couldn't get that smell off my hands. So I was like, dang, I need minions again. This is starting to get some nice color to it now. The garlic is starting to brown. Just gonna add a little salt and pepper. That pepper shaker seems to be almost out, so I'm gonna grab the one off the table, which is an owl, because I am obsessed with owls. In case you haven't noticed, if you look around my kitchen, there's an owl there, there's an owl there, there's like 4 owls over there. I got owls everywhere. So this is starting to, as you get in where you can see how the garlic is starting to brown, and now the peppers are getting a little bit of color to them. So we're starting to get a little bit of really nice color in here. Gonna let that cook for about another minute or 2. My tomatoes are set to the side, so I am going to use the edge of my cutting board here. And in a commercial kitchen, you would still get a separate cutting board, which we have talked about. But here, I will not use this cutting board again for anything else. So I'm going to use the edge of it where I know nothing will contaminate to open up the casing on the sausage. So these sausages have a small casing on them, and you're like, what the heck is that? So you see if I pull, you can see it almost looks like skin. So I'm going to, you can either take a knife and split it, or a lot of times if you start to peel it back, you can squeeze the rest of it out. And that's usually what I do. It's because I don't like cutting the casing, because it is so thin that sometimes it just makes a mess. Or you'll cut too deep into the sausage and then it crumbles and you have more issues. So I'm just gonna squeeze it out now that the casing is scored. So I'm gonna just squeeze these guys right on in here. You can see me do that or not. So this is what's left of the casing, and there's the actual sausage itself. Same thing here. I'm just gonna squeeze this right on down. This is coming from the top where I open both ends. Now sometimes you'll have sausage like chorizo and things like that that have a little metal band holding the casing, and it's easier just to cut the ends off of that completely and then squeeze into whatever dish you're making. I'll wash my hands because I just touched raw meat. All right, let's get this sausage going. I'm gonna start breaking it up. Let that cook, and as it continues to cook, just breaking it all up. Smells so good. All right. We're gonna make just a simple tomato sauce. And once this cooks down and the sausage is almost done, I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons. These are already pre-measured out. I don't use enough tomato paste to buy jars of it. So we get individual packets. They can come, I think it's like 10 packets to a container, but you're more than welcome to get the small cans. I may actually have one in my cabinet. I'll show you what it looks like for when I make chili and things like that, and I need a larger quantity, but it's looking like a negative Ghost Rider, guys.
I don't think we've got tomato paste.
I think I actually used it the other day. So, nope. Oh, no, I have tomato sauce, not tomato paste. Yep. But it's in a can very similar to this. Tomato paste is very, very pasty.
Thick.
It's very concentrated. So it's very thick, it's very pasty, and it can easily be diluted to make a much larger quantity, so it doesn't take a whole lot. I'm going to continue to break up this sausage. If you don't have access to a Cubanelle pepper, you can always use a bell pepper. They're similar. Or you don't have to use pepper at all. You can use onions, you can use peppers, you can use mushrooms. One of the wonderful things about pasta is you can literally put just about anything in it.
Whatever you want to eat.
Yeah. So we're just going to continue to break that up. It's just about 3/4 of the way done. So I'm going to go ahead and add my tomato paste into this. So I'm just going to open this guy up, and I'm just going to squeeze my tomato paste. See, it's very thick, like very thick. Let me start getting it all out here.
It's just a lighter consistency than Play-Doh.
Pretty much, yeah, it really is. All right, so I'm gonna let that cook down for about a minute. I'm gonna kind of stir it in, but I'm gonna let it cook. And you're thinking, how in the world are you gonna make sauce out of just that little teeny bit of tomato paste? Because you can see now that it's all mixed in. Like, whoa, what just happened? That's it. That's all it's gonna take to make a nice sauce to go over this pasta. So I'm gonna let that cook for, like I said, about a minute. Smells so good. All right. Uh-oh, we got a bunkin.
I hurt myself.
Okay, let me see. What'd you do?
I hurt myself.
All right. Oh, I see. All
The
right.
thing of having boys outside playing.
All right. You go sit on the couch and go watch Paw Patrol for a minute, okay? And calm down.
Fix Paw Patrol.
Daddy is going to fix little person. I'm going to attempt to flip my camera around, which I'm not sure how to do at this precise moment. So we're just gonna hold it over the food. All right, so this is starting to cook down real nice. And I'm going to add half a cup of water to this. Half a cup of water. This measuring cup has seen better days. It is one of the measuring cups that I had when I first moved out. So I'm just gonna add that water right in there. And then we're just gonna stir it around. See how we're starting to get some nice color? And this will continue to thicken, and it's gonna make a sauce. Next time I'm gonna try to figure out a better place for my munchkins to be so you can hear me a little more. All right, we're gonna let that cook down. Get this back.
Cameraman's back.
take a little stir here. I'm just using the edge of my knife just to make sure that they're not clumping or sticking. All right, that's cooking down. We're getting some nice sauce here. It's starting to thicken. I'm going to go ahead and add my tomatoes into it now. And we'll let those start to cook down a little too. All right. So we're just gonna let that simmer for a few more minutes. When this starts to thicken a little more, and just before I take it off, I am going to add some cream cheese to it. This is completely optional, but what that does is it's going to give your sauce a lot more richness and creamy texture to it. I'm also going to save about half a cup of pasta water because the starch in it that has come from the pasta itself is going to give the sauce a creamy effect as well. Let me get rid of my trash. Oh yeah. Looking good, looking good. Our noodles are just about done.
Have you ever told them how to check when pasta's done?
That's what we were getting ready to do. Don't just stick your hand in a pot because it is super hot. Grab something out, and you can use that with tongs or whatever. One, it won't stick to itself. Two, if you throw it, that one went right back in the pot, guys. You can always throw a pasta noodle and see if it sticks to a wall or whatever. I can feel how this is. It's so sticky that it is actually done, but it will stick to a surface.
At least somewhat.
Right. I'm throwing it in my microwave, which is not the greatest to do, but this is about al dente right now, so that means that it's still a little chewy. I can feel that from how much starch is in it and how sticky it is when I touch the noodles. Otherwise, it really just takes about 7 to 10 minutes to cook pasta. So it should be just about done. I'm gonna cut this down, or actually I'm gonna cut this off. And let it come down. I'm going to pour some of my pasta water to save for my sauce. And then I'm gonna dump into a colander. Give it a little shake. I'm gonna throw it right back in this pan. I'm going to put it not back on the burner, as otherwise it'll continue to cook without liquid in it.
And it'll burn to the bottom.
It will. I'm going to add just a little bit of butter to those noodles. It's about, well, now that's about a tablespoon of butter. So I'm just gonna mix that in. Give it a nice little swirl. That looks delicious. I'm gonna pull some noodles out for my kids because they won't eat sauce because they're super weird sometimes. It would help if I had the right kind of tongs, which I don't because they're in the dishwasher. That have little teeth. Alright. So I'm going to set
You
this
don't have
aside.
the little white ones on there?
No, I didn't see the little white ones, which was the ones I was looking for. So now I'm going to add about a tablespoon of cream cheese to my sauce here. And I'm just going to let that melt right on in. All right. sauce is a little thicker than I want it to be, which is why I saved some of the pasta water. So we're just gonna add a little bit of that in there. It's probably about 2 tablespoons worth of liquid that I just added. All right, cream cheese is all melted in there. Got a super yummy sauce going on. I've got some Parmesan cheese. My scissors aren't in there either.
Check the knife drawer.
Ha! Somebody else put away dishes, y'all. I'm gonna put about half in here, and I'm gonna save the rest as garnish. So I'm gonna let that melt just a little bit, and then I'm gonna toss it all together. And then you will have pasta Italiano. Just gonna scrape that really good.
Get all the sauce.
That's right. All right, well, that's almost all of this. I'm gonna use those tongs and just toss it in there. All right, and I'm gonna grab a bowl, top it with some more Parmesan cheese, some crushed red pepper, and some Italian seasoning, because I really want my other tongs. I just don't see them anywhere, guys. So we'll just make do with what we got. Just gonna put a nice little base layer of pasta in here. And then see if I can get a little more of the sauce and the good stuff. Chef's favorite thing to do is to garnish. So just sprinkle a little Parmesan cheese, a little Italian seasoning, and I like a little heat, so just a little red pepper. I'll get you in some good light over here under my stove. A nice close-up on that, and there is your pasta Italiano made from school leftovers. Bye guys, I'll see you when I post this video during my class.